I'm going to show you, or in that replica that we just gave you. But this was an old family grocery store. This was the meat locker in the back for them, and that was what we used for our office. And the film crew liked the setting because they could dolly their cameras. It had wide aisles, etc. So the original store was a quarter-mile away from the boardwalk on the street. And where these cars are is where they built a fake wall, and they put Laughing Sal in front of the wall. So when it looked like when people walked by, they were on the boardwalk. You see this tree. There's no tree on the beach.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So what they did was they shot from there down.
Right, awesome,
to make the illusion that we were on the beach. So this is Schumacher, the director. You can see the trees in the background.
God rest his soul.
Yeah, I know. One wonderful guy. He was a lot of fun. So we shot, and here's the pinball machine that for 3 seconds in the movie, there I am. That's what I look like in the film. When I played the pinballs. And this is an exterior set they built, but they never used. So what they did was they set up this fake wall on Fridays. They shot their scenes on Saturdays, and then on Sunday they tore down the fake wall, and they did that 3 weeks in a row. You would think they would just get all the shots that they needed.
Right, yeah.
But it took so long to set up and everything for the shots they wanted. So they shot for 3 consecutive Saturdays. And the third Saturday they shot a scene that never even made it in the movie. There's a scene where supposedly somebody's stealing a comic, and Corey Feldman grabs a slingshot from under the counter and blows the guy's ear off. And I don't know if they decided it was too graphic or if it just didn't work, but they cut it out of the movie. So spent a whole day shooting a scene they didn't even use. So that was the extent of my involvement. I only met the 2 Coreys and Jameson Newlander, who played Alan. None of the other cast members were involved in the scenes in the comic store. So I didn't see any of them. But had a wonderful time meeting those guys and the directors and a lot of the crew that hung out. But they shot they got there at 9 in the morning and they were there till midnight.
Wow, so long.
So like a 15-hour shooting day. So that's pretty crazy. And there was a lot of downtime. So Corey Haim, these are teenagers, and he read Archie comics while there was downtime. And years later, when the movie came out on DVD, they had a big panel in San Diego. And I busted him. I said, dude, there were questions from the audience. And I said, do you still read Archies? And his head just sank like that. And he goes, no.
No.
I often wondered how many women sent him Archie comics after that,
So where did the film crew stay, Joe, in Santa Cruz?
They stayed in a hotel at the Holiday Inn here in town.
Ah, okay.
And, they all stayed pretty much in the same hotel. And they were here for over a month.
So that was that from the beginning to the end of the film? Is that how long it took? Like a month?
For the scenes they needed here, yeah. They were in town for at least a month, maybe 6 weeks, because Kiefer Sutherland was trying to do a stunt with a motorcycle and broke his hand or something.
I read that, yeah.
So it delayed the shooting even longer. Terrible to be stuck in this town for an extra 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But it was great. We were there, and then when they finished, they had a big wrap party, and they closed the street out in front of the store, and they just had tables and tables and tables, and they served everybody a steak dinner with champagne, and it was quite the event.
I believe the actors that was in the film that never had many scenes together, they sort of segregated themselves from the other actors because of the time schedules in the filming, so they weren't together all the time.
For example, all the beach scenes were shot at night. So the boardwalk closed during the week, Monday through Friday. So the crew that shot those scenes worked on the beach from all dark, from whenever it got dark at night after they closed. And Saturday they did not have enough hours of darkness, so that's why they shot in our store on Saturdays. So they had one crew working the beach during the week. They had another crew work in our store. And then, of course, they had the other scenes that involved. When Corey Haim first walks in the comic shop, and he says he's looking for Batman
and number 14,
right? Well, the original line was, I'm looking for Batman Volume 2, number 7.
Really?
And when I heard him say that, I chuckled because there was no Batman Volume 2
Right.
at the time.
Right.
So when they finished the scene, I walked over to Schumacher. I said, Joel, if you're going for a laugh, you're going to get it. But if you're trying to establish that Sam is a serious collector, you just blew the scene because he asked for a comic that doesn't exist.
Right.
And he rolled his eyes. He yelled, "Stop, stop, stop!" And those were the days before cell phones. So they got on a landline, and it took an hour to call LA and find the writer to okay a line change. And I can still see Schumacher with the phone in his ear saying, "Joe, how about Batman 14? I said, "Fine." And that's why he says it in the movie. Did I get a credit? No.
Nothing.
Did I get a nickel? No. But I was the technical advisor. Thanks, Kenny. So that saved the scene. Otherwise, it would have been disaster. Because no serious kid. Now, since then, there have been many volumes of Batman, of course, you know, but not at the time. So, and it was quite the thing. I always tell people if the movie industry ever comes to you or Hollywood comes to you and says, "We want to use your home for a scene in a movie or a TV show," tell them $1 million or go away.
Yeah, exactly.
They always say, "We'll leave it the way we found it," but.
So what happened, Joe, to the original store then? Was it
The original store in 1989, California had an earthquake that was centered here near Santa Cruz.
okay?
And it affected San Francisco, one of the freeways. The Bay Bridge kind of
Oh yeah.
did a little bit of a collapse, and the building we were in, the front part that was wooden, did what it was supposed to, and it gave. But the back part was unreinforced masonry. So it was condemned, and the landlord was told, well, you can either save the front end and tear down the back at your own expense, or FEMA will tear down the whole building free. So they did what you and I would have done. They took a tractor and came right through the front of the store and bulldozed the whole thing. It is still an empty lot right now, 30-something years later. And that block is eventually going to be developed, but it'll probably be in the next 10 years or something like that.
Okay.
So the original store lives on in that comic series that they wrote. That was supposed to be, there are 2 sequels that are not very good, but they took the script that was supposed to be the sequel, and they turned it into a 6-issue comic book series.
Right.
And that's collected in the graphic novel that we have. And in that story, Sam goes to work in the comic store for the Frog Brothers. And some of the interiors are taken right from what the store actually looks like. So even though the building's gone, it lives on in the comic.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
And it's great to speak with you, Joe. It's and obviously you've been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure because you've signed.
You can go to the different locations in town, but this is the only place where you can actually talk to someone about the film.
That's correct.
The other ones are all just locations. And it's just a gift that's amazing 37 years later. Here we are every day talking to someone, and a lot of people this year from England. There was one year where everybody who came in was from Australia because the conversion rate was very favorable. But what a shock, Nate. We have someone from England, huh?
Again.
Yes. Well, there was one, was it last week? Every single day, somebody from a different part of England was here.
Yep.
And 2 of the groups actually ran into each other on the boardwalk. They were both Lost Boys groups. And they said, "Oh, we're from England." Well, we are too,
Well, it's took me from 1987 to get out here, and it's just been a pleasure to be here. I've been on the boardwalk. I've just got from Grandpa's house over at.
You took the trek up there?
Yeah. I just literally got back from there, and I had to come to this store. It was.
Well, we appreciate it. You got to see the original comic. We were fortunate, as Bambi told you, we had Jameson Newlander here for a signing.
He was,
Frog, and he loved it so much he wants to come back. Every year they do the Boardwalk does a series of movies on the beach, and they always start with the Lost Boys, and they always get at least 1,000 people on the beach to watch it every single year. So he's going to come back and do another signing here on the day they shoot the movie next year. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Have you ever considered doing Comic Cons?
I've done Comic Cons when I was younger.
Yeah.
But now, and whenever I do Comic Cons now, there's 2 problems. Number one is the expense. I don't have enough staff to run the store and the con. And number two, you never bring the right stuff
Right.
to the convention. You know.
You can't bring the whole store.
Yeah. So
And they always ask
people
for
say,
a
"Do you
thing."
have this or that?" And you go, "Oh, yeah, back at my store, I do." You know. I could see possibly doing something with a Lost Boys book, but it even if I sold a lot of them at the cost now of doing a convention, it wouldn't really be worth it. But you know, this way we get a lot of visitors like yourself. So we still make friends from all over the world. It's really special.
It's funny how that film has surpassed its time that it was made,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a cult classic.
There have been a lot
film.
of cult classics like Rocky Horror, but this one seems to have more legs than most of the others. You know, 37 years later, we're not still going to midnight showings of Rocky Horror, but we're still seeing annual showings
Exactly.
of Lost Boys.
Exactly.
So it's very special.
Okay,
And
Joe.
we love meeting people. So whoever sees this, come to Atlantis, come to Santa Cruz, and we'll enjoy discussing the Lost Boys.
It's been a pleasure, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you very much.